Hello and welcome to volume of prisms and cylinders, and in this section these are the formulas that we're going to use. The issue with volume of a prism is that it depends on what the area of the base is for the challenge of this problem. And if it's a triangle base, we have to use the area of a triangle, which I hopefully remember is base times height divided by 2. The area of a four-sided shape, a quadrilateral, that's supposed to be a four-sided shape, would be just base times height. And just be careful that the height, we're talking about two different things. And then the area of a polygon, I'm going to call it poly, will be apothem times perimeter divided by 2. So it'll depend on what the shape of the base is to the challenge of this problem, but you'll take that and multiply it by the distance. This h right here is basically the distance between the two congruent bases. So like if it was a hexagonal base prism, then the two hexagons would be the bases, and then the distance between those would be the height of the prism. And so make sure you get that down. And a cylinder is pi r squared times h, where r is the radius of the circles. This is the area of the circle times the distance between the two circles. Again, h right here. The h right here is the distance between the two bases, which both happen to be circles in this case. So that's the two formulas that we're going to use to find the volume of prisms. And so we'll do practice. You guys will get to see a practice example of this. And so we have a rectangular prism here. And in a rectangular prism, it kind of works out kind of nice. It doesn't really matter what the base is because they're all rectangles. They're all found the same way. But again, if it was a triangle-based prism, we'd find the area of the triangle and then multiply it by the distance. So if this was a triangle, triangle-based prism, we could do something, and we'd have to know what the area of the triangle is before we multiplied it by the distance, which I'm going to call 6 feet between them. So I'm going to treat this side over here as the base, but it doesn't really matter for this prism. So the area of the volume of this, let's just go with volume. The volume of this is going to be the area of the base, which would be 4 times 3, and then we're going to multiply it by the distance between the two congruent squares, two congruent bases, which would be this side right here and the side over here, which we really can't see much of, but the far side over here, which the distance between them is 6. So if we were to multiply that out, we would end up with 12 times 6, which gives us a volume of 72. And now, since we're talking about multiplying 3 dimensions together, it's going to be feet times feet times feet, which we just put a little cube after them. So for volume, we're going to be dealing in feet cubed, where surface area we dealt with like feet squared and stuff because we're talking about area. And so how this would differ if it was a triangle-based prism, like I said, we'd find the area of the triangle on the one side, and then we would multiply it by the height, and that would give us the volume of the triangle-based prism. And we'll practice this a little bit more in class also. And so then we have this oil drum, which is a cylinder, which looks like a cylinder. So if I wanted to find the volume of this cylinder, I remember the volume is the area of the base, which happens to be a triangle, or a triangle, happens to be a circle, and then we multiply it by the distance between the two circles. So that would be, the volume is going to be found by pi times the radius squared, 2 squared, times the distance between them, which is 4. And so the volume is going to be 4 times 4, which is 16 pi feet cubed in terms of pi. And then if I take 16 and multiply it by 3.14, I'll end up with the volume with a little bit better number, which would be 50.24 feet cubed, which is a number that you guys tend to like more. But remember that if they're asking me for volume in terms of pi, 16 pi is the answer we're looking for. So if you have any questions, please come to class prepared. We will talk more about this in class. Thank you.